Yo, it's your bud, AVT Pro. First, I want to say happy birthday to Reg. This is a video for Reg. I want to give him kudos and happy birthday. I had on the shirt that you had given me. I had it on the other day. And so I was thinking, it's his birthday, but I got a present. That's because you're a great guy. Real giving and real great. Real giving in the Facebook pages is really great. That you have been contributing a lot and have kind of built a sense of community, and that's just the kind of guy you are. Be praying for you and your family, and just got you in prayer. So just wanted to thank you. Enjoy it regardless. I'm telling you, buddy, I had some years that started down like this and was up like that, and by the end of it, so high or low, you're just tipping on the tightrope, So I just wanted to say thanks. I switched this camera because I realized I don't have many mirrors in my house, or I don't use them. I really don't use mirrors. And so a friend of mine told me, she joked around a long time ago, she said, "You're the man without any mirrors in this house." So I don't spend much time in front of the mirror, and I realized that the most time I spend looking at myself is in this video camera. So I tried to switch it to the other side because I realized I'm not taking care. It's on this side, so I realized I'm not taking care of this side of my face because I'm always looking on this side, so I don't notice when things are wrong. So I always had bad. I don't know if it's probably from diet or whatever, but I realize I am not. This is not good. Anyway, so maybe I'll be more conscious of it if I switch the camera. So anyhow, so I have to move this over here as well, so because I always look at this. So anyhow, I just want to say happy birthday and great job. And if I were you, I would see the Tron movie anyhow, even though it was just kind of long. I think that I know where they made some mistakes, and they should have made some changes, and they didn't. They followed the story. They tried to follow, some of the designs were even the same. It was just like too much, too much of the same. And then the color, the monotone color is great and it's nice, but they should have had some scene changes. They just, what's bad is that the first movie was such a genius that the second movie, they made some mistakes in trying to recapture it, where they just redid it, and they shouldn't just remake the movie. I understand they did some cool things, they got some cool effects and got some cool technology to make it better, but they could have used it. It's not the technology that made that movie great. It was design, it was story, it was just a good movie. And that's where they missed it. They just didn't make a good movie. So, but it was good. It was fun to look at. Also, I want to talk about being an artist and entry. Let's say not even being an artist, because you're already an artist. Entry into the 3D graphics took me a long time. I'm not gonna say that it's not that case for you, because now the whole thing is evolved. So to get into 3D, somebody can go to school and within a year produce a good quality 3D film. You learn how to model, rig, and animate. Done. But at the time that took me so long is because a lot of the technology was developing for the Mac platform, whereas it had already developed for PC, and it was like the cutting edge was a PC at the time, because Steve had done some things and trying to introduce a format that just didn't fly. And so, he's in a position to do it now, but not back then. Quick Draw 3D, when he didn't have the hardware to support it. So now that he has the hardware to support some of these things, he could do it. But at the time, he tried to implement some things that just like Quick Draw 3D. So the Mac platform suffered, and so did the development, and just generally the development still it's a little slower now than on some for the high end stuff because of the way they work the PC systems. So a lot of what my lag has been is that at the time I could only afford a Mac. I was on a Mac. The Mac got the jobs, a regular Photoshop, Illustrator, Quark Express at the time, and so I was committed to that platform, especially in 1990, 98, and 1990, 2000. That was my platform, and then I got a corporate job, and so it was all sweet. I bought new systems. It wasn't really a problem. I bought the G4 that's sitting over there. I bought the beige one that's also sitting over there, the beige G3, and so the G3, then the G4. So, but at the time, still there was no Alias or no Maya, and it was already Maya on Windows NT, Mac in 2000. Okay, 2000. It was 1999, 1998. As a matter of fact, they were selling an O2 at the time, and it was about $14,000, $7,000 for the software and the hardware, and so you could get that system. Now, I had ran into a guy who just was a total BSer, and he BS'd his way into the music video business. Nothing new. So he got a contract, and so I had helped him with some models, and he went and bought those systems, and it was great, but he didn't know how to use it. But there were available Windows NT, and you can get those systems on it, and I just didn't know. Everybody else had migrated to Maya. Had migrated to Windows, and they were using Macs and for that kind of stuff. And so the Mac, and then they also have Maya on Windows NT. And again, those, a good Windows DEC Alpha station was about $14,000. So 15,000. I didn't really even realize what was going on, because I was really just new to computers, and I didn't know what was really happening with it. And nobody really just sat me down and said, "Here, this is it. This is what's going on." Somebody did, but I just didn't get it. Probably twice. I just didn't get it. But then I went, and I was still working with Electric Image, Form Z, and stuff like that. And even Lightwave. If I had caught on to Lightwave, I would have come across that poly modeling. And so really, as the type of modelers that I had learned, I still hadn't learned poly modeling. So, I know it now, but at the time, it was just like, I didn't understand the whole concept. And so when I came back to Buffalo here, that's what I had to learn. And that's what I learned with Electric Image Modeler. So as soon as I got it, then Electric Image Modeler failed. It defunct and went out of business. People still use it and swear by it. And then the way it used NURBS and hard body, there was no real NURBS hard body surface modeler. I still don't use one now because poly modeling is completely the deal now, pretty much, unless you're doing machining or stuff like that. But for concepting, so those things had to pan out. They had to pan out in my life, and it took me a while to figure those kind of things out. But I finally, I can't see now. I finally got to this stuff. And now with ZBrush and all this stuff, so the stuff is there. The technology is there. So, you're way ahead of the game, but still to the point where it took work. I ran into, it took work to get into the industry. So I had to be capable of doing it. And so I just kept doing work and then kept showing it. I kept doing work, kept showing it, I learned. Okay, now I have a team of people that I supervise. Anything goes wrong, I know how to fix it. Any problems that needs to solve, I solve them. But it takes because I'm always still staying on the cutting edge. But it took a long time to get there. It really did. But now, and now the competition is fierce. So you got 24-year-olds that can just whip it, because they go into school and they're done. I mean, back at the time, I think I was teaching at Pratt, and I saw Softy Maj, and I was just like, oh, my whole attitude was don't even think about touching those systems because it was completely financially unavailable to me. So it's just like, don't even waste your time even looking at that. All of that stuff is in our hands, your hands, our hands now. So you have the ability, you're in a very unique place and a very unique timing that you can go from your sketches into to modeling and production. And so that's a very good thing. One of the things I'm having a problem with right now is that my life is just so distracting. There's just so many things. And I think I've been behind the wheel for so long that, just to come out and to try to deal is just like it's almost future shock in a way. It's almost like being being let out of jail in a second, in a minute, for the first time, It's like, oh, I can't wait to get out. Oh, look what's going on. What are iPods? Where did they come in? Oh, what's Wi-Fi? So, how to do that, try and say, what's Wi-Fi? Anyway, so anyhow, my point is that I ran into this one of my niece's husbands, and so what he mentioned to me, he mentioned that he's going to school, and then it didn't pan out, but he's going to work for a while, and then what he said something about he's going on unemployment for a minute, and then he's going to study, and I said that's the key. That's the key. It's not so much, being able to make a run beeline directly to it. It's like when things come up, you adjust. And you still keep that goal in mind. So it's like, okay, maybe I got a double load right now. Maybe I have to work in a while in a job or something like that. But at least I'm this far along the technology that I'm secure enough that if I spend only 2 hours during the day now, that I don't have, I can get a sufficient amount of stuff done because I'm at least familiar with it. So it's not the same as when you start out. When you start out and you're only doing, and when you start out and you don't know how to poly model or you don't know how to retop, I mean, even that takes time to learn, but at least you can model stuff. So now for your 2 hours worth of time after work, you're not learning the program. You can at least produce stuff. And so that puts you in a far better position. So, I mean, it's what I did when I had to learn this stuff. It's like I got on unemployment. I had unemployment and I was able to learn. I got on unemployment twice recently with Apple, and like years ago when I was working at this photo shop. And that was the first time I learned computers. So it's how to manage this. How do you manage, when you're in a better position than just starting out, when you at least know this stuff, you're like, okay, well, all right, let's say like in my case, I got to do a film, but at least, I know the parts to do. So if I start now, I know I have the direction. And if I spend 2 hours, I can do 2 hours worth of, or an hour worth of drawing, and then let's say an hour worth of computer graphics. It's not easy for me to do that, switch hats and stuff. But point is that when you're so far up the chain, you have to do less. It's like higher level management. And that's where I am with my business, so to speak. It's like I have to do less work, and I get a greater return, because I've already put in the elbow grease. I've already paid my dues. So that's all I want to say to you is that you've already paid your dues on a certain level. And so therefore, when you move forward, moving forward, it's easier because, you're starting at a certain plane. And so you know, the fact that you could draw something and model it, you know, it puts you in a very much better position, even if you have to spend 8 hours a day somewhere else, or 10 hours a day, or you don't get to work on it some days. If you're working on it on a Saturday, you're still a better position because you already know this stuff. So I wanted to encourage you on that level, is that, and I have another friend, Ed, and you guys know it. You know, back in the day, and maybe I should do this another video, but what I want to say about it is that, you know, we were so dependent on, publishing our stuff in, let's say, an international magazine, or publishing our stuff in, Vogue or some brand name, you know, whereas now everybody's a brand name. You know, if I publish my stuff, Alonzo Von Threet, will have my stuff published in Italy, or sell stuff that I publish myself. You know, there was a heartbreaking situation where, you would just wait to see if they accepted your work, or if you were allowed in their field, or stuff like that, or in the music video area, you might get rejected, or, whatever, hosed or shafted or whatever. And, it would be like really heartbreaking. But now it doesn't matter, because you could just produce your own. Yes, they have more money and they have big corporate names behind them, but you still have the advantage of going after those corporate names yourself, vis-a-vis, I forgot, I like that, ergo vis-a-vis my position here. So that's the point. There was a time where, if we didn't get our stuff published in there, or didn't get this, I used to get an artist market book, and used to dream about pushing my stuff in New York. I'm like, nah, I don't give a crap about about publishing my stuff in New York. I mean, and plus, it's just when you're in Buffalo, you don't see these places, and so when you're looking in a book and you see it, it's like seeing it's, you don't really, you magnify these things and you fantasize about them. When you go actually in them, you're like, oh, it's just a building filled with computers, and people working there. With nice decoration. They got a nice designer. I mean, I'm not really a starstruck person yet, somewhat. I don't, it takes even, celebrities a while to grow on me, as much as they market it and push it. I'm like, I had this gay, it's like, I decide who I like. I don't let nobody else tell me who I like. So that's my point. Is like, you don't really have to have those folks, to do you. You do your own thing. Yeah, maybe they have bigger money situations. They have a bigger market and stuff like that, and it's a corporation. But that's just the way those are. They're competitive. There's it's just competition. It takes a lot to get on top with that, and it's a whole different thing, and those people sacrifice a lot of their life, and so that's what I'm dealing with. I still, even though we don't have all the hoopla, we still have to make those same sacrifices. Now that's deep. You have to, like the fact that they can't have anybody and everybody around them, the fact that they have to give up a certain percentage of their life in order to do this. That's the common sacrifice. If you're going to do that, you wouldn't be as good as you were as you are now if you didn't do that. And if you didn't do that, you wouldn't have anything to complain about. It's still worth it. At least you're on that level. So for you to do anything now is a whole different story. If you go for the gusto now, you wouldn't be able to go for the gusto if you hadn't made for those sacrifices completely. I mean, you're in a position to make it. You wouldn't be able to even decide that you want that if you didn't make those sacrifices. So that's 20 minutes. That's just 20 minutes in the mind of AVT. This is an AVT land here. So God bless you all. Love you all. Happy birthday. Keep it up. Keep your chin up. Keep hope. Keep the faith. Keep trying. God bless you.